My name is Mike Cavanagh, I'm president of Code Media. I wanted to show you guys one quick thing, just really get your take, because I've had sort of this vision outside of the Interplay, which we'll do a quick intro on that, of what our clients need and how we can make things faster, cheaper, better, and totally eliminate the friction of doing business. So we have an ERP system that we work on, and from that, we created a web store that allows us to go online, and what this store does is it's tied to our accounting system. What that means
Don't buy
is,
anything on my laptop.
with the accounting system, if you click Will Call, there are 10 copies of Pro Tools 10 in our inventory and available right now. So on a basic level, you can put your credit card in and immediately get it. If you're a client of Code Media and we set you up for an account, you get your own pricing. You just put a PO number in. We already have your post exemption for the certificate, and we make it as fast and as easy as possible, because the biggest problem I've seen clients find, and it sucks a lot of time for all of us, is you searching and trying to find what you need at that moment in time, and you're making a bunch of calls talking to people to see if they have it in stock. And I thought, we know what's in stock. There must be the technology to feed this up for our clients for them to figure that out. So we're basically doing a soft beta launch right now. If you're interested, Matt McLean, who is signing everybody up, please give your card to him. He's in the back right now. We'd love to introduce you to this. From that perspective, I'd like to introduce Greg Lawler, who's going to come on. But before I do that, just 30 more seconds. Code Media really sat back, because there are two aspects of what you're here to say today. The real big news is the Avid Sphere system. But to get Sphere, you have to cross sort of a threshold of a product that has been out for a long time, and not everybody has really bought it. And it's this product that we've decided at Code Media we don't talk about it, and that's rule number 1, 2, and 3. And I'll say the name here so we have reference. It's called Interplay. And my techs and I sat down and sort of said, in absence of clients not having Interplay, what are they missing? And we came up with 10 key aspects that could be fairly significant. And from that, we develop a questionnaire and a survey process to help you and your facility go through that and justify economically on paper, so the execs can look at it and say, does this product make sense? Because that really is the first threshold for you to take to get involved in all the additional services on top of that. So I'd like to bring in Greg Lawler, and he's the Regional Director of Avid Technology. Thank you very much for attending.
Thank you. I wasn't sure if he was actually going to let me come up this time. I'm going to be very brief because I want to bring Michael up. He's excellent at this stuff. But I just want to thank you guys all for coming. We've got a really good presentation for you on our Interplay Sphere products. Some of you I know, by the way, some of you I don't, but I hope by the end of the day I get a chance to meet all of you and give you my card so you can have more stuff to put away. But what I do want to point out is after Michael's done, he's probably going to answer every question, so you won't have any at the end of this thing. But there's a lot of good people here that you can talk to, both from the Keycode side, Mike's team. Also, I've got Chuck, George, I've got Mike Shooter here. There's a lot of good guys that can give you a lot of good detailed information if you need some more information after this. But again, thank you all for coming and taking the time, and I hope you enjoyed the lunch. So I'll introduce Michael Krulik, who's very good at this stuff.
Thank you, Greg. I'm good. Ooh. Here we go. How y'all doing? Good? How was the lunch? Good truck? I have some up here, so if I start munching, don't worry about me. Anyway, my name is Michael Krulik. I'm a solution specialist here in Burbank, actually right across the tracks, literally across the tracks. What we're going to talk about is remote collaboration. This is basically 25 years ago how this whole idea started with Avid. Now we have, in the center, we have our shared storage going to our editors, Pro Tools, and even third-party apps. This is more of a visual of the actual systems coming out. Just to get a show of hands, who's familiar with ISIS, or our shared storage? Wow, a lot of you. And who's a current editor on Media Composer? All right. Any editors on other applications? Final Cut, Adobe, a few of others, welcome. We're all, one big happy family. It's all about the tools you use, but we are going to talk about remote collaboration within the Avid environment. To start out, the heart of the system is ISIS. ISIS stands for Infinitely Scalable Intelligent Storage. So there actually is a reason why it's called ISIS. The idea is it is an Ethernet attached system. The Unity system was fiber, so this is all Ethernet. Optimized for workflows. We want to save you time and money depending on the size of your facility that you plan on using with the shared storage network. Video and audio editors can share the same media at the same time, which is fantastic. If you've seen or used this before, which a lot of you have, if you haven't, you're basically single ingest of media. You have media on a virtual workspace, and everybody's sharing that same media. It's just the pointers that are actually used to cut the sequence together, so you don't need to duplicate media over and over again. Multiple streams, you can have multiple editors using the same media throughout the process. And video satellite, is anybody a Pro Tools editor? Any audio? Let's see, yeah, maybe a few. Pro Tools has a link to the Media Composer using video satellite, where you can actually hook into a Media Composer system with hardware, and on your soundstage or in your studio, actually be playing out, linked to a Media Composer, the full HD quality from a shared storage network while linking to your Pro Tools session. So you don't have to work with a small QuickTime file. Dynamic resizing of workspaces. You can literally, while all of your editors are working, dynamically change the size of your workspaces without having to shut down your entire facility. Shut down the editors, change your size. You don't have to do that anymore. You can actually see, take away, and add to your workspaces. Great performance. Again, a really proven system with ISIS 5000. On top of your ISIS system, we have Interplay, Interplay Production. This is your asset management system. It's the brains to your entire facility, to all of your media, the brains behind your ISIS network and all of the storage. And what this allows is for a bunch of different workflows depending on what your roles are within your facility. Whether you're a logger, a producer, whether you're a graphics department that needs to link to media, whether you're an editor. And the idea is this is a simultaneous workflow where everybody can be working with the same media, looking at different assets and working, but the producer doesn't have to be in the edit bay with the editor. Some editors like that. You want to be able to go in and make sequences or take a look at notations through Interplay without the producer being in there anytime an asset is changed. And that's actually a look into Interplay Central, which is the web-based browsing system for all of your media. Local or remote. You want to be working at Starbucks. You have all of your media back at the facility, but you could literally be looking at the same media on your shared storage while working remotely using these systems here. And we're going to be talking about Central and Sphere, two different versions. Version tracking, we have a full version history. Again, one asset linked to the different elements, but anytime you update that asset, we have full version history through any of the metadata for that. Safe deletion, migration, and web tools for acquisition, logging, story editing, and transcode with Interplay Central. Interplay Sphere is within the editor. If you're not a logger or producer, if you're an actual editor and you want to be working at Starbucks, you want to be working at home, if you're a student who may want to be, in the middle of the night, you think of this amazing change you want to make to your sequence, you could literally log in to the ISIS system, which is on campus, if you're given permission, and play the media, make any changes, and then open up that sequence back on campus and link to the high-res media, which is back on your ISIS. So some very interesting workflows. Again, we're enabling two-way working. You can actually upload from your local system to your ISIS back at campus or back at the facility, or download off of ISIS onto your local system that you're working on. So we're solving two problems here: remotely accessing, editing with the work group of assets. Again, just a little visual. This is your own private cloud using Avid Interplay and the ISIS shared storage. You're gathering your information on location. This could be used for students. This could be used for post editors or even news editors. So imagine if you're working in a broadcast environment, you're out in the field, you have your laptop, you actually shoot something on a Canon camera, on your iPhone, on anything, and you want to remotely upload that to the station. You could do that with these tools. And you could use a standard Wi-Fi or 4G connection or cabled in. I'm actually wirelessly connected to my laptop here. I'll be doing the entire demo off of this. You may have seen in other demos I've done, I've had to roll in entire systems. I can travel a little lighter these days. It's actually kind of nice. Low bitrate option for Rush Media. We actually will do a live stream or real-time transcode that you're actually playing on your laptop, on your system. So again, just another quick visual, acquisition right into your editor, and you have a two-way, either going back to the facility or back to your editor, depending on how you want to work. So on location or at the facility. Just a little short list of benefits before we go into the actual demonstration. Background transcoding, something people have been asking for a long time. So while you're editing, you could actually send media in the background to transcode back to the facility. You're not stopping the editing process. You're just saying, upload this media, it does it in the background, and you can keep working. Also, background uploading, the same thing. Automatic check-in from media. Interplay is, I like to say it's a library. You have to check things in before anybody can see it. If I'm working with 500 different sequences because I'm a digital hoarder and I have all these different changes and things like that, I only want to check in the one that I want everyone to see. So you can automatically check in your media from the field if you'd like, or choose it on a per asset basis. Proxy first, full resolution follows. Depending on how you want to upload or send your media, you could literally click on the media that you have on your laptop and say, I want to send a proxy and a high-res transcode of that. And you'll see in the interface, you say, I want only a proxy, I only want the high-res, or I want both. And it'll just queue up and do that all in the background. And distributed editing. So you can actually edit between editors in different locations. So just like being on a shared storage network at your facility or at school, you could literally be on a laptop here, have somebody across town on the same laptop, and as soon as that media is checked in and out, any notes, any shot lists, any sequences can be seen on both systems. So Interplay Sphere, creating a digital outpost anywhere with an internet connection, again, wireless or wired. It's secure, so you are working in the private cloud that is Interplay, using the shared storage network. So you do have logins that are required for your credentials. Full workflow with Media Composer, again with Sphere, inside of the editor, being able to play and work, and the ballistics are amazing. You wouldn't even know because it's actually downloading a low-res version of the media to your local storage system. And then you have some really great control. Edit your Interplay assets remotely and intelligently upload your media. Interplay, depending on how you plan on working with it in the field, again, being able to search for any of your assets, non-Avid or Avid assets. Getting it to your facility in a timely manner. How do you want to access your material from your facility? Do you want to work remotely? A lot of people want to do that now. They don't want to be in the facility, or they want to make changes as they are working. Interplay Sphere, being able again to access, share your content from anywhere, search, browse, and edit. And Sphere gives you that familiar Media Composer tool set. And for education, as I mentioned, education is a really nice way to bring in Interplay. Again, you have all the students, you have all the assets, being able to search across your entire Interplay and ISIS network for any sort of media. And to give you that remote access. You don't need to be in the lab to actually work. Labs only are there for a certain amount of time. The lab closes down, you still want to edit, you can actually do that. Let's get into some functionality here. So again, I'm working totally wireless. You do want to VPN into your ISIS network. So I'm VPN'd in. Actually, the media that I'm going to be using is back in Burlington. So I'm working with media that's cross-country. So Burlington, Massachusetts, back at Avid Corporate. So if I log into my ISIS, or my Interplay Central, I'll go ahead and select logging into Interplay Central. And the nice thing about this is it's totally customizable depending on what your roles are. So I only have limited access, so they didn't give me administrative permission. But now, Interplay Central, depending on if I'm a logger or a producer or somebody who needs to see media, make comments or shot lists, I can do that with this web-based app. The great thing about this is it's a unified client. We had other tools that were specifically PC-based. This now is Mac or PC. You can log into Safari or Chrome. And now I have access to any of the media or projects, looking at media on my Interplay network. So this is the Interplay database right here. I double click on that, it opens up a window with all of my media, and when I double click, it's now going to bring up the asset, and it's going to transcode on the Interplay Common Playback Server that media and let me play that back. So here I have some media from Austin City Limits, little Arcade Fire. I'm scrubbing media that's cross-country, and I can play that. Nothing up my sleeves. Okay. So we also have these panes, ways that you can actually set up your display depending on what your roles are. Right now I'm in the video playback. So if I go into my pane window right up here, I can say let's bring up the markers. And you see these tabs come up along the side here. We can also take these and drag them on certain parts of the window. You see how it can be across the left, the bottom, or the right, and actually tab my layout. So I'm creating a certain look that I want, depending on how I want to see the assets. Again, this is still all web-based. It's all an object-based system. So we'll go ahead and let's bring the Arcade Fire down here. And let's bring up our little media window. So here's a nice little basic display. And I want to go in and log some of my media. So let's go into Arcade Fire. We'll double click that clip again. It brings it up as an asset, and I can start playing. And while it's playing, I can hit Control M, and it starts adding markers. Right here. So these markers, we could go in and while they're actually being marked, add little comments. So let's go ahead and start right at this one. We can change the colors if we so choose. And anytime this is done, this is instantly saved as an asset in Interplay, so the editors will see what these comments are. So let's go ahead and say this is begin, drum, cool girl drumming. I know this is exciting notations that I'm making, but bear with me. And so these elements are now created as markers, the same markers that are used in editorial, and there's even an option to export. So we can take any of these markers and from the web-based app, export text, Media Composer text, an XML file, whatever format you may need, just as a library of everything that has been marked on that. Okay. Now, let's say we want to go in and look at any of this media or go into the sort of producer role. I want to look at media and I want to create a shot list. So we're in video. These are, again, different roles that you can create. And I'm going to go ahead and create a new sequence. So by selecting my sequence pane, I now have a timeline. And this timeline, I can start adding assets to it. So there's a couple of different levels here. We'll go back, we'll double click on our little Arcade Fire right here. I'm going to mark an in and an out point. I and O should be very familiar with editors, producers, just mark an in and an out point. And I'm going to go ahead and create a new sequence. And this sequence will go ahead and name it key. And let's start creating with our asset. Drag and drop into the timeline. And I'm creating a shot list with the key code sequence. Let's go to another shot right here. Again, we'll mark another in and an out. And not only do you have the ability to add, this is something that's really cool. If you use any of our other applications, you could just create a shot list. But look at this. I can literally come in and trim in my timeline, in that shot list if I so want to. And I can play that out. So we'll click on this, and I now have an amazing cut from one shot to the next. Okay. Amazing. Plus, we can also go in and add effects. So there's a little dissolve here, so you can literally add dissolves in your timeline. Double click for your dissolve duration. I want that to be 30 frames. And done. Okay. Again, very basic. We're not giving producers or loggers the ability to edit per se, but it's a really nice way that they can go in and make some editing decisions, make some shot lists. Let's go into, grab another element. Let's go into, let's see, some Academy Sports. Again, another clip. Can simply double click. And let's add, oh, that one they took offline. Oh, there we go. Go to my users, and we'll create yet another clip.
You could be doing this on an iPad.
Well, the iPad Interplay Central is a little different. That's going to give you some scripting and iNews capabilities. But yeah, we do have some level of stuff that we can do on an iPad. So again, another element, we can drag and drop that. We can choose where it's going to be placed. And we do have a couple of different levels, again, depending on your role or what you're trying to do. If you're in a news environment and you wanted to maybe do a voiceover, you could literally add or put a microphone in. And if you take a look at your audio pane, you have the ability to see your audio. So you'll see your levels while it's playing.
Sealed carry. We ended up getting permit carry.
And you have your audio tracks, which mixes down the stereo into a single track. Neat thing is you could go to your custom levels and say, all right, on this track, what audio tracks do I want to monitor? So if you do have audio on different tracks, you can say, I only want to hear those. But you can actually monitor 16 tracks with Interplay Central. You also have a source on tape, so you have your different tracks down here, and the VO, where again you could literally put in a microphone and do a voiceover directly into Interplay Central for a little VO area, a little VO piece. I'm going to go ahead and save this. So I'm saving that clip. Let's just jump into our editor. So we're going to go into Interplay Sphere. Again, depending on your role, Central is logging, shot listing, a lot of basic editing. But now I'm the editor. I'm working wirelessly. I'm anywhere in the world, in the country, wherever I want to be. I've VPN'd into my editor. And what you'll see, let me go ahead and log out. is when I select my project, I get an option when I log into Interplay. I'm not connected to any ISIS workspaces except through VPNing into my ISIS network, into my Interplay. And you'll see remote client. So if this was deselected, I could be working locally with ISIS and Interplay, but I'm now a remote client. That'll now let me look into Interplay and work with local media. So if I have clips I want to use with AMA, I can do that. If I have media in my Avid Media file folder on my local system, I could use that. But I could also go to my Interplay window and open up the same clips that I had before. So let's go to Users. We'll go to myself here. And when I double click, it now is taking that clip. It's going to load it into my source remotely from the Interplay system that's back in Burlington. And here it is. I'm now scrubbing through that clip, and it has to catch up. It is downloading. There we go. I'm now playing that clip. I don't So if I need to put that into my project, I need to create a new bin. My bin is called Burlington. I can take that clip directly out of my Interplay window, drop it in to my bin, and we're going to get an icon of the clip with a down arrow telling me that that's downloading that from my ISIS and Interplay network back in Burlington. See the little down arrow? This is one of them. That's the other one. So these are two clips which are downloading the 800 kilobit proxy file to be used in editorial. I can take both of those, drop them into my sequence. Here they are. But I also want to take something local. Say I have, a QuickTime file linked to AMA. We'll go to the desktop, and I have, let's see, I have a little QuickTime After Effects file right here. This is playing the high-res After Effects QuickTime file that I can cut in, and I now have proxy with local all playing back and scrubbing at the same time. Now I also made that amazing sequence called key, right? So we're going to bring that in. I'm going to go to my Interplay window. I'm going to search for the word key. Now I don't know where it is. It's somewhere in my asset database. So I'm going to search across my entire work group for a sequence. And the sequence is going to be called key. And I want anything that's been checked in. If you've seen Interplay, you can say, I want to look for anything that's been checked in the last 10 minutes, the last day, last week, last year, or across everything. So I know it was relatively recent, so we hit search. There it is. That's the key sequence. If I click and drag that out into my bin, it's now checking it out from Interplay into my project. And when I double click, watch what happens. Close this. Just like a sequence. Did it bring it in? Oh, there it is. Wrong one. There. There's my 3 edits and my girl drumming. Now, this is interesting because I logged in as a remote client. Oh, there it is. Look at that. It just took a second. So it had to repopulate. It had to take that time because they're long clips.
Carry.
And I'm now
We ended
playing
up
back
getting permit carry.
the media. And if I had names on the locators, we would have seen them right there. If I go to my markers, there's a list of markers. So again, as soon as something is checked in, we can see it whether it's in Sphere or in Central. And at any point, if we're in the editor, and again, I talked about working remotely and sending stuff back to the facility, I could highlight a clip Let's go to a little graphics here and say remote upload. This is the window that comes up which says, how do I want to upload it? I want to send it back to the facility. I can do a proxy, H.264 with MP2 audio. I can do high. If I select high, it's going to let me choose, just like a transcode, what quality do I want to upload it back to the facility. Or I can do both. And again, it's first going to do the proxy, and then it's going to do the high res all in the background. So what'll happen, let me find a little clip here. Remote upload. Oh, that's already uploaded. You'd get your little icon right here. This little wheel starts spinning. You'd see the progress in the background. The transcode's done, but I'm still editing. So the transcode is happening, but I'm still working on that media. But the great thing is, at that point, if I go back to the facility or back to the lab, All I have to do is take the sequence and it'll link to the high res that would have been sent because I've been working with the proxy on remote. I won't check that in. So does everyone get the idea of what the certain role is depending on what you want? And licensing is going to be different depending on how or what your role is with Interplay Central and Interplay Sphere. You're going to have your Interplay Common Playback server, so there is an HP server that goes on top of your ISIS and on top of Interplay, which is where all the transcoding and everything is being handled on the system, whether you're using Central or Sphere. Everything is done there. And again, all of your different asset windows here, if you want to go in and make any changes, once you create a certain view, it's always going to come up with that. And we also link to iNews. So if you do have rundowns or any iNews pieces that you want to create or use, let's see if I have any here, you would be able to see all the rundown information are set up for any broadcast type work. Neat thing also with the elements here, any little pull down, you have these little arrows that let you perform certain functions. So I could send a playback right from Interplay Central. You don't have to go to the editor. You've done a shot list, you want to send that to playback, you can literally do it right from here. You also have your playback quality. Depending on where you're located, you may not have a really good wireless connection. You could actually change the playback quality to be good, better, or best. It's almost like changing the display quality inside of your editor to give you better performance while you're working. And other things like changing the aspect ratio, match frame, doing a screen grab, saving as an image, or even a sequence mix down. So we're giving you a lot more tools in Interplay Central.
We've just ordered our HP servers, and we'll be putting a system here, so we can do much more granular type testing, where you may say, let's throw on real low res, a season of something, and let's just see how it works. And we're more than willing to do that and helping you guys sort of rationalize, the workflow, the process, the security, and the economics of does it make sense for you. But we will have our system running by Monday, Scott?
Thank you very much for your time.
Awesome job, Michael. Thank you for attending. Michael and his team will be available so that you can get a little more hands-on. JKL, scrubbing from Burlington if you'd like. We'd love to engage you and talk to you more about how this may fit for you and just help you rationalize the economics and the technical side and the workflow side of does it make sense for your business. So thanks a lot for coming today. Hope you enjoyed lunch.